An abortion is a procedure to end a pregnancy. It can be done two different ways. The first way is a medical abortion, which uses medicines to end a pregnancy. It is sometimes also called an abortion with pills. The second way is a procedural abortion, which is a procedure to remove the pregnancy from the uterus. This can also sometimes be called a surgical abortion. Misconceptions state that abortion is caused by contraception. However, this is not the case. About 14% of women aged 15 to 49 currently use a birth control pill, while 10% of women aged 15 to 49 currently use a long-acting reversible contraception. Contraception prevents fertilization, so no pregnancy can occur. It does not allow sperm to reach the egg through a variety of ways, including thickening the mucus of the cervix so the sperm gets stuck and cannot move. Contraception also stops ovulation, so there's no egg to be fertilized.
Women get abortions for many reasons. These statistics cited by Dr. Ireland give some insight as to why. This data is based on a survey of 957 women in 2004. 25% of them said they were not ready for a child or the timing was wrong. 23% said they could not afford a baby. 19% said they had completed their childbearing, had other people depending on them, or their children were already grown up. 8% said they did not want to be a single mother or they were having relationship problems. 7% said they didn't feel mature enough to raise a child or they felt too young. 4% said a baby would interfere with their education or career plans. Another 4% said they had a physical problem with their health. 3% said they had possible problems that would affect the health of the baby. 6% said they had gotten abortions for other reasons. Based on these statistics or other personal life experiences, people may use psychological stereotypes to say that all women who get abortions are selfish or do it for selfish reasons. This is not the case, as abortion can be life-saving, and some women get abortions when something goes wrong in their pregnancy that they could not have prevented. Some pregnancy complications highlighted by the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists include placental abruption, bleeding from placenta, preeclampsia or eclampsia, and cardiac or renal conditions. These may be so severe that abortion is the only measure to preserve a woman's health or save her life. These conditions can happen more than we expect, which can be shown by statistics from the Blue Cross Blue Shield. Blue Cross Blue Shield looked at data from pregnant women aged 18 to 44 in 2018. They found an average of 196 out of 1,000 women would have pregnancy complications, including preeclampsia, among other things. This number increased by about 16% since 2014. In these cases, abortion may be needed to save the woman's life. These statistics show that abortion can be considered healthcare and it should be kept legal. Making abortion illegal will not stop abortions. Rather, it will just make them unsafe. Today, approximately 21 million women around the world obtain unsafe, illegal abortions each year. Complications from these unsafe procedures account for approximately 13% of all maternal deaths. Evidence of abortions have been around for a very long time. Abortions are mentioned as far back as Egypt 1550 BCE and China 3000 BCE. Egypt had medical writings describing abortion techniques, while China had documents mentioning abortions. Philosophers even discussed abortions, with Plato saying any woman over 40 should have an abortion, and Aristotle saying it should be used for controlling population growth. Women have had a say in what happens to their bodies for as long as abortions have been around. Abortions in ancient times were ordinarily the work of midwives, or they were induced by the pregnant women themselves. Therefore, in the past, it has been understood that abortion is a topic that should be decided by the woman and possibly her physician. This leads us into elements of abortion in the second wave of feminism.
Throughout most of history, physicians were seldom involved in gynecological procedures. The female reproductive system was considered the domain of women. This should not change now. The best health care is provided free of political interference in the patient-physician relationship. Abortions should be available in order to protect the lives of women. This helps them to avoid uncontrollable events that lead to stress, as some pregnancies are more dangerous than abortions. Women of color may want abortions because they are safer than actual childbirth. When data from 1979 to 1992 were analyzed, the overall pregnancy-related mortality ratio was 25.1 deaths per 100,000 for Black women, 10.3 for Hispanic women, and 6 for non-Hispanic white women. According to the American Medical Association, these rates did not improve between 1987 and 1996.
Let's take a moment to dive into Roe v. Wade, then versus now. Beginning with case background, this case was brought by Norma McCorvey under the legal pseudonym Jane Roe. McCorvey wanted an abortion but lived in Texas where it was illegal except when necessary to save the mother's life. Her lawyers, Sarah Weddington and Linda Coffey, filed a lawsuit on her behalf in the U.S. federal court. The U.S. District Court for the Northern District of Texas heard her case and ruled in her favor. The other party pushed back and it was appealed to the Supreme Court, who ruled in her favor 7-2. They held that the Due Process Clause of the 14th Amendment to the United States Constitution provides a fundamental right to privacy, which protects a pregnant woman's right to an abortion. In 2022, the Supreme Court overturned this ruling. So what does that look like, and how does that impact each state and the abortion restrictions that they're facing? This map shows a variance from the most restrictive to the most protective states in the U.S. as it stands now. Beginning with one side of the spectrum, with the most restrictive states, is Texas. Some of their policies currently in effect in Texas include the following. Abortion is completely banned, with very limited exceptions. Patients are forced to make 2 trips, one for in-person counseling and another at least 24 hours later for the abortion. Patients are forced to get an ultrasound even if it's medically unnecessary. Medication abortion is restricted through unnecessary regulations, and unnecessary regulations are enforced and designed to shutter abortion clinics without basis in medical standards. On the other end of the spectrum, we have some of the most protective states, including Vermont. Their policies currently in effect include some of the following. Abortion is not restricted based on gestational duration. The state constitution protects abortion rights. The state provides protection from harassment and physical harm for anyone entering an abortion clinic, and the state also has a shield law to protect abortion providers from investigations by other states, may cover patients, and support organizations.
Despite the deaths of unsafe abortions, people are still trying to outlaw safe ones. This phenomenon relates to the psychological aspect of the perseverance effect, which is the natural tendency people have to hold on their pre-existing beliefs even in the face of evidence that proves their beliefs wrong. Even though the risk of death associated with childbirth is approximately 14 times higher than that with abortion, people still believe women are being selfish and try to ban abortions for them so that these women are forced to keep the child regardless of the mother's condition. Abortions are now illegal in 1/3 of all U.S. states. Approximately 1 in 3 women in a sample of 255,929 pregnancies visited the emergency department during pregnancy. This supports that people with less opportunities are more likely to get abortions, as childbirth is more dangerous for them.